The stars looked different through the window of the UES horizon. Commander Jake Morrison pressed his hand against the cold glass and watched the massive space station grow bigger with each passing minute. After 3 months of traveling through space, they were finally here. The Galactic Coalition had invited Earth to join their group of peaceful worlds, and Jake was part of the first human team to meet them. Captain Lisa Adams walked up beside him. She had been chosen to lead this mission because she was calm under pressure and good at talking to people. Her brown hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her blue uniform was perfectly clean. She had spent the last week reading every report about the Coalition species they would meet. "Are you ready for this, Jake?" she asked, looking out at the station. It was bigger than any city on Earth, with thousands of lights twinkling like stars. Jake nodded. "As ready as anyone can be for meeting aliens, I guess." He had been a soldier for 15 years before joining the space program. He had seen combat in 3 different wars on Earth, but this was something completely new. Dr. Alex Foster walked over carrying a large bag full of samples and data pads. He was excited about meeting new forms of life and had been talking about it for months. His glasses kept sliding down his nose as he moved around the ship, checking and rechecking his equipment. "The Coalition sent us information about 7 different species," Alex said, setting his bag down carefully. "They all seem very peaceful. Their histories show they solve problems through talking, not fighting. Some of them haven't had a war in over 500 years, Captain Adams smiled. "That sounds like a good group to join. Earth could use some peace after all the fighting we've done." The ship's communication system crackled to life. "This is Admiral Kate Sullivan from Earth. Command. All crew members report to the main deck for final briefing." The team gathered in the main room of the ship. Admiral Sullivan appeared on the large screen, her gray hair and serious expression making her look very official. She had been in the military for 30 years and had planned every detail of this mission. "People of Earth are watching this mission," she said. "You represent our entire planet. The Coalition has been peaceful for over 3 centuries. They trade with each other, share knowledge, and help solve problems together. This is our chance to join something bigger than ourselves." Lieutenant Colonel Sam Turner stood near the back of the room. He was in charge of keeping the team safe, and he had studied every report about Coalition security. Something about their peaceful nature made him uncomfortable, but he kept his thoughts to himself. "The station we're approaching is called Unity Station," Admiral Sullivan continued. "It's neutral ground where all Coalition species can meet safely. They've prepared living spaces for us and scheduled meetings with representatives from each member world." Dr. Ryan Parker, their language expert, raised his hand. "Admiral, their main language seems simple enough. They use basic concepts and avoid complex ideas. It's almost like they're afraid of saying the wrong thing." "That's probably because they're so focused on keeping peace," Admiral Sullivan replied. "Remember, these species have lived without major conflicts for centuries. They might not understand our more direct way of talking." Commander Beth Wright, their engineer, was studying the technical specifications of the station. "Their technology is interesting," she said. "Very advanced, but also very safe. Everything has backup systems and emergency protocols. It's like they're terrified of anything going wrong." Lieutenant Maya Chun, the team psychologist, had been quiet during most of the briefing. She was supposed to help the team understand the alien cultures and make sure everyone stayed mentally healthy during the mission. "Admiral," Maya said carefully, "I've been reading their cultural files. They seem to avoid talking about anything dangerous or unpleasant. Their entertainment doesn't include violence, their sports don't involve physical contact, and their histories skip over any difficult times." "That's not necessarily bad," Admiral Sullivan said. "Maybe they've learned to focus on positive things. We could learn from that approach." The ship shuddered slightly as it began docking procedures. Through the windows, they could see the massive docking bay of Unity Station. Other ships were already there, with designs unlike anything humans had ever built. Some looked like flowers made of metal. Others, like smooth eggs floating in space. Captain Danny Rodriguez joined them from the pilots. Jake. He would be staying with the ship while the diplomatic team went to the station. The Coalition traffic control is very polite, he said. They've asked about our ship design, our crew size, and our homeworld about 10 times. They seem nervous. About something. Jake looked at the other ships in the docking bay. Those ships don't look like they were built for fighting. I don't see any weapons or armor. They're all curves and pretty colors. That's because they don't fight, Dr. Foster said. They've evolved past the need for violence. Isn't that wonderful? Something. In the way he said it made Jake uncomfortable. On Earth, even the most peaceful nations kept armies for protection. These aliens seemed to have no defenses at all. The docking process finished with a soft thud. Outside, they could see Coalition personnel preparing to welcome them. The aliens looked different from each other but moved with the same careful, gentle motions. None of them looked like they had ever been in a fight. Final equipment check, Captain Adams announced. Alex, do you have all the cultural samples? Dr. Foster patted his bag. Music, art, literature, and biological samples. I've also got detailed records of human history, though I might skip some of the more violent parts. No need to worry them with our wars and conflicts. Sam Turner frowned. Maybe they should know about our military history. It might be important for them to understand how we've survived. Sam's right, Jake said. These people have been peaceful for centuries. They might not understand what Earth has been like. We've had to fight for everything we have. Captain Adams thought for a moment. Let's focus on our achievements first. We can talk about our history later if it becomes necessary. The airlock opened with a hiss of pressurized air. The first thing that hit them was the smell. Everything was clean and fresh, like a garden after rain. The second thing was the silence. Unity Station was huge, but it was quieter than any place Jake had ever been. A group of Coalition representatives waited for them in the docking bay. The leader was tall and thin with pale blue skin and large eyes. Her movements were graceful and careful, like she was afraid of making sudden moves. Welcome, humans of Earth, she said in perfect English. I am Ambassador Zara of the Zephyrian Council. We are honored to meet you. Captain Adams stepped forward and offered her hand. I'm Captain Lisa Adams. Thank you for inviting us to join the Coalition. Ambassador Zara looked at the offered hand for a moment before carefully shaking. Her grip was gentle, almost afraid. Please follow me. We have prepared quarters for you and scheduled meetings with representatives from all member worlds. As they walked through the corridors of Unity Station, Jake noticed more things that seemed strange. The walls were covered with soft materials. That would cushion any impact. The floors had a slight give to them, like they were designed to prevent injury from falls. Even the lighting was gentle and warm, nothing harsh or bright. Dr. Foster was busy taking notes about everything he saw. This is amazing, he whispered to Jake. They've designed their entire civilization around preventing harm. No sharp edges, no dangerous materials, no risk of injury. It's like they've never had to deal with anything dangerous. Jake whispered back. How do they handle emergencies? They would find out soon enough. The galaxy was about to discover what happened when Deathworlders joined their peaceful community, and humans were about to learn why their invitation had caused such concern among the stars. The meeting room was the most beautiful place Jake had ever seen. The walls were made of some kind of crystal that changed color slowly, and the furniture looked like it had grown from the floor instead of being built. 7 different alien species sat around a circular table, each one stranger than the last. Captain Adams took her seat next to Ambassador Zara. The other humans spread out around the table, trying to look calm and professional. Dr. Foster had his datapad ready and was practically bouncing with excitement. Before we begin, Ambassador Zara said, we would like to learn about your world. Please, tell us about Earth. Dr. Foster stood up and activated his holographic display. Images of Earth appeared in the air above the table, blue oceans, green forests, and white clouds. The aliens made soft sounds of appreciation. Earth is our home, Dr. Foster began. It has many different environments. We have deserts, forests, oceans, and mountains. The weather changes with the seasons, and we have many different types of plants and animals. A delegate with 4 arms and silver skin raised one hand. Your world looks very active. Are those storm systems in your atmosphere? Yes, those are hurricanes, Dr. Foster said. They bring strong winds and heavy rain. Sometimes they can be dangerous. The room became very quiet. Jake noticed that several of the aliens were looking at each other with what might have been worry. Dangerous. Weather? Asked a delegate that looked like a walking tree. How do your people survive such events? We build stronger houses, Dr. Foster explained. We have warning systems to tell people when storms are coming. Most of the time we just wait for them to pass. The tree-like aliens' leaves rustled. You live with dangerous weather as a normal part of life? Well, yes, Dr. Foster said, not understanding why this was surprising. Earth has earthquakes, volcanoes, floods, and storms. We've learned to deal with them. Lieutenant Maya-Chun was? Watching the aliens' reactions carefully, something was wrong. These beings seemed shocked by the idea of natural disasters. She decided to pay closer attention to their questions. Tell us about your animals, said a delegate with smooth purple. Skin and large eyes. Do you have many species? Dr. Foster smiled and showed images of various Earth animals. We have millions of different species. Here are some of our larger land animals. The first image showed a lion hunting. Several aliens gasped and moved. Back from the table, the purple-skinned delegate's eyes went wide. That creature is consuming another living being, she said in a shaky voice. Yes, lions are predators, Dr. Foster explained. They hunt other animals for food. We have many predators on Earth: lions, tigers, sharks, bears, wolves. You have multiple species that kill for survival? The tree-like aliens' leaves were now shaking. And humans live alongside these creatures? Jake was starting to understand. These aliens had never dealt with dangerous animals. Their worlds must be very different from Earth. We've learned to live with them, Jake said. When I was a boy, I was camping with my family. A black bear came into our campsite looking for food. We made noise and backed away slowly. The bear took our food and left. No one got hurt. The silver-skinned delegate's 4 arms were trembling. You encountered a predator as a child and survived? Bears usually don't attack humans unless they're protecting their babies or feel trapped, Jake explained. You just need to know how to act around them. Dr. Foster continued his presentation, showing images of Earth's geography. When he showed the Sahara Desert, the aliens seemed confused. Nothing lives in those areas? Asked the purple-skinned delegate. Actually, lots of things live in deserts, Dr. Foster said. Humans have lived in deserts for thousands of years. We've learned to find water and shelter from the heat. Your people can survive in environments with no water? The tree-like alien sounded amazed. We need water, but we can go several days without it if necessary, Dr. Foster replied. Some desert peoples could walk for days between water sources. Captain, Adams noticed that the aliens were taking notes about everything they said. She was starting to feel like they were being studied instead of welcomed. Tell us about human recreation, Ambassador Zara said. How do your people enjoy themselves? Dr. Foster showed videos of various human sports. When football appeared on the screen, the room fell silent. The aliens watched humans running into each other, tackling and fighting for control of the ball. They are attacking each other, whispered the 4-armed delegate. It's just a game, Dr. Foster said quickly. They're not trying to hurt each other. Well, not seriously. Not seriously? Ambassador Zara's feathers were standing up. You engage in physical combat for entertainment? Jake tried to help. We have rules to make it safe. Players wear protective gear. It's about strategy and teamwork. But people do get injured in these games? Maya Chen could hear the fear in Ambassador Zara's voice. Sometimes, Dr. Foster admitted. Minor injuries are part of the game. Broken bones, bruises, cuts, nothing too serious. The aliens were now talking among themselves in their own languages. Jake couldn't understand the words, but their body language was clear. They were scared, Commander. Beth Wright had been quiet during most of the presentation. She was an engineer and preferred to watch and listen before speaking. Now she was starting to see a pattern. Ambassador Zara, Beth said carefully, what kind of sports do your people play? We have many wonderful games, Ambassador Zara replied. Musical competitions, artistic contests, mathematical puzzles. We also enjoy gentle physical activities like synchronized swimming and harmony dancing. No contact sports? Jake asked. Contact sports? The purple-skinned delegate looked confused. You mean activities where beings touch each other? Well, yes, but more like competing against each other physically. Jake explained. The tree-like aliens' leaves were now curled up tightly. Your people compete by trying to physically overcome each other? Captain Adams realized they needed to change the subject before things got worse. Perhaps we should discuss our technological achievements. Dr. Foster brought up images of human cities, spaceships, and scientific discoveries. The aliens seemed more comfortable with this topic, but they still asked strange questions. How do you test your technology? Asked the silver-skinned delegate. We run experiments and simulations, Beth Wright replied. We push systems to their limits to see how they perform under stress. You deliberately cause your technology to fail? Ambassador Zara sounded shocked. We need to know what will happen. When things go wrong, Beth explained. If we don't test our limits, we might have dangerous failures when we least expect them. The aliens exchanged more worried looks. Maya Chen was now certain that something was very wrong with this conversation. Ambassador Zara, Maya said, could you tell us about your homeworld? What is it like? Zephyr is a beautiful world, Ambassador Zara said, her feathers relaxing slightly. We have gentle rains that fall at the same time each day. The temperature never changes more than a few degrees. Our animals are all herbivores that live in harmony with each other. No predators? Jake asked. Predators? Ambassador Zara looked confused. Why would any creature need to harm another? For food, Dr. Foster said, or to protect their territory or young. Our animals eat plants, the tree-like alien said. They have no need for violence. Captain Adams was beginning to understand. These aliens had evolved on worlds without danger, without conflict, without the need to fight for survival. They had no concept of the struggles that had shaped human history. What about natural disasters? Maya asked. Earthquakes, storms, floods? Our worlds are stable, the purple-skinned delegate replied. We have systems that prevent such events. You can control weather? Beth Wright asked, her engineering mind intrigued. We can predict and prevent dangerous conditions, Ambassador Zara explained. Why would anyone choose to live with unpredictable dangers? Jake felt a chill run down his spine. These aliens didn't just live in peace, they lived in worlds where peace was the only possibility. They had never faced real danger, never had to fight for survival, never had to adapt to threats. Dr. Foster was still showing images of Earth when he came to a picture of the Rocky Mountains. These mountains were formed by geological activity. Over millions of years, your planet's surface is unstable? The four-armed delegate was now standing up, clearly agitated. Well, yes, Dr. Foster said. The continents move, volcanoes erupt, earthquakes happen. It's all part of how planets work. The aliens were now talking rapidly among themselves. Jake caught fragments of their conversations through the translation. Devices. Words like impossible, dangerous, and unstable kept coming up. Ambassador Zara stood up, her feathers fully extended. I think we need to take a break. There are some things we need to discuss among ourselves. As the aliens filed out of the room, Jake looked at his teammates. They all had the same expression, the slow realization that something was very wrong. They're not just peaceful, Maya said quietly. They're terrified of everything that makes us human. Captain Adams nodded grimly. I think we're about to find out why they really invited us here. The alarm started ringing at exactly 0600 hours station time. Jake woke up instantly, his soldier training taking over. Something was wrong. The sound was different from the gentle chimes they had been hearing since arriving at Unity Station. This was urgent and sharp. Captain Adams was already dressed and moving toward the door when Jake reached the hallway. The other team members were coming out of their rooms, all looking confused and worried. "What's happening?" Dr. Foster asked, carrying his datapad even though he had just woken up. "Emergency alert," Captain Adams said, pressing the communication button on the wall. "This is Captain Adams. Can someone explain what's going on?" Ambassador Zara's voice came through the speaker, but she sounded very different from the calm, gentle being they had met yesterday. Her voice was shaking with fear. "Captain Adams, please come to the emergency council chamber immediately. We have received a distress signal from one of our mining colonies." They rushed through the corridors of Unity Station, following the emergency lights. Jake noticed that other aliens were moving around in panic, but their version of panic was very different from what humans would do. They moved slowly and carefully, like they were afraid of making things worse by acting too quickly. The emergency council chamber was full of coalition representatives, all talking in quiet, worried voices. Large screens showed a star map with one system flashing red. "What's the situation?" Captain Adams asked as soon as they entered. Ambassador Zara turned to face them. Her feathers were flat against her head, and her large eyes were wide with fear. "The mining colony on Arcturus 7 is under attack. The Drakkar have returned." "Who are the Drakkar?" Jake asked. The purple-skinned delegate from yesterday stepped forward. "They are raiders who attack our outer colonies. They take resources and prisoners. They are very violent." "How many people are on the colony?" Lieutenant Maya-chun asked. 3,000 beings, Ambassador Zara replied, "including many families with young ones." Jake felt his stomach drop. 3,000 innocent people were under attack, and everyone in this room was just standing around talking about it? "What's your response plan?" Captain Adams asked. The four-armed delegate spoke up. "We are calling an emergency council session. All member worlds will send representatives. We will discuss the best approach and vote on a response." "How long will that take?" Commander Beth Wright asked. "The proper procedures require at least 6 weeks," Ambassador Zara said. "We must allow time for all voices to be heard and all options to be considered." 6 weeks? Jake couldn't believe what he was hearing. Those people could be dead by then. "We understand your concern," the tree-like alien said, his leaves rustling nervously. "But we cannot act hastily. Violence must be met with careful consideration, not more violence." Dr. Foster was studying the tactical display. "How far away is Arcturus 7? "About 18 hours at maximum speed," Ambassador Zara replied. "And how long have the Drakkar been attacking?" Maya asked. "The distress signal was sent 4 hours ago," the purple-skinned delegate said. "By our calculations, the colony can hold out for perhaps 2 days if they are fortunate." Captain Adams looked at her team. They all had the same expression. The look of people who couldn't believe what they were hearing. "Ambassador Zara," Captain Adams said carefully, "what kind of defenses does the colony have?" "Defenses?" Ambassador Zara looked confused. "The colony has emergency shelters and evacuation procedures." "Why would they need defenses?" Because they're being attacked," Jake said, trying to keep his voice calm. "What do they do when the Drakkar arrive?" "They hide and wait for help," the four-armed delegate explained. "What else could they do?" Commander Wright was staring at the tactical display. "Those are civilian ships in orbit around the colony. No weapons, no shields, no armor. They're completely helpless. The Drakkar have been raiding coalition colonies for months," Ambassador Zara said. "We have tried negotiating with them, but they do not respond to our diplomatic offers." "What kind of ships do the Drakkar use?" Beth asked. "Fast attack vessels with powerful weapons," the tree-like alien replied. "They strike quickly and leave before any help can arrive." Jake looked at the display showing the Drakkar ships. They were small and fast, but he could see weaknesses in their design. Any military officer would spot the same problems. "How many ships do they have?" Jake asked. Our scouts report 12 vessels, Ambassador Zara said. Each one carries about 30 raiders, so roughly 360 attackers total, Captain Adams said, thinking out loud, against 3,000 civilians with no defenses. It is a terrible situation, the purple-skinned delegate said sadly. We can only hope that the Drakkar will be satisfied with taking resources and will not harm too many people. That was the last thing Jake wanted to hear. Ambassador Zara, what if we offered to help? The room became very quiet. All the aliens were staring at the humans with expressions that might have been fear or shock. Help? Ambassador Zara asked. What kind of help could you provide? We could evacuate the colonists, Captain Adams said. Our ship is fast and has room for passengers. That is very kind, the four-armed delegate said, but the Drakkar would not allow an evacuation. They would attack any ship that tried to approach. Then we deal with the Drakkar first, Jake said simply. The silence in the room was now complete. The aliens were looking at each other with expressions the humans couldn't read. Deal with them? Ambassador Zara's voice was barely a whisper. You mean fight them? If necessary, Captain Adams said. We can't just let innocent people die. But you are diplomats, the tree-like alien said. You came here for peaceful negotiations. We're also human, Jake replied. We don't abandon people who need help. Dr. Foster was still studying the tactical display. The Drakkar ships are designed for attacking helpless targets. They're not built for fighting against organized resistance. You have studied warfare? The purple-skinned delegate sounded horrified. All humans study conflict, Maya explained. It's part of our education. We learn from past battles so we can avoid making the same mistakes. You teach violence to your young? Ambassador Zara's feathers were now standing straight up. We teach survival, Captain Adams corrected. The difference is important. Commander Wright was already calculating flight times and approach vectors. Captain, the Horizon has enough firepower to handle those raider ships. They're not expecting any real resistance. Our ship has weapons? The four-armed delegate stepped backward. Of course it has weapons, Jake said. How else would we protect ourselves in unknown space? The aliens were now talking among themselves again, but this time their quiet conversations sounded more like arguments. The humans could hear words like dangerous, unstable, and Deathworld being repeated. Captain Adams, Ambassador Zara said finally, we cannot ask you to risk your lives for our people. The Coalition does not engage in violence. You're not asking us, Captain Adams replied. We're volunteering. This is not how civilized beings solve problems, the tree-like alien said. Violence only creates more violence. Sometimes violence is the only thing that stops violence, Jake said. The Drakkar are not going to be reasoned with. They understand only strength. You cannot know that, Ambassador Zara protested. Perhaps if we offered them better terms. They're raiders, Commander Wright said bluntly. They take what they want and hurt anyone who gets in their way. That's not a negotiation problem, that's a criminal problem. Maya Chun had been quiet during most of the discussion, but now she stepped forward. Ambassador Zara, how long have the Drakkar been attacking Coalition colonies? About 8 months, the purple-skinned delegate replied. And how many colonies have they hit? 17, Ambassador Zara said quietly. How many times have your negotiations worked? Maya asked. The silence was her answer. They keep attacking because they know you won't fight back, Jake said. They have no reason to stop. But if we fight them, we become like them, the four-armed delegate said. We lose what makes us civilized. No, Captain Adams said firmly. What makes us civilized is protecting innocent people. Standing by and watching people die because you're afraid to act, that's not civilization. That's cowardice. The aliens recoiled as if they had been slapped. Ambassador Zara's feathers were now completely flat against her head. You do not understand, she said. We have been peaceful for centuries. We have no military, no weapons, no knowledge of combat. We have evolved beyond such things. You haven't evolved beyond them, Jake said. You've just been lucky enough to never need them. But the universe is a dangerous place, and now that danger has found you, Captain Adams made her decision. We're going to Arcturus 7. Our ship can reach the colony in 18 hours. We'll evacuate as many people as we can and drive off. The Drakkar. We cannot authorize such action, Ambassador Zara said desperately. The Coalition Council must vote on any military response. You don't need to authorize it, Captain Adams replied. We're not asking for permission. We're doing what's right. The humans turned to leave the chamber. As they walked toward the door, they could hear the aliens talking frantically behind them. They're going to fight, one voice said. The Deathworlders are going to war, said another. What have we done? Whispered Ambassador Zara. Jake paused at the door. The U's horizon dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Arcturus 7 system. Captain Adams stood on the bridge, watching the tactical display as it updated with new information. What she saw made her jaw clench with anger. 12. Drakkar ships in orbit around the colony, Commander Wright reported from her station. They're taking their time, like they're not worried about anyone showing up. Jake studied the enemy formation through the ship's sensors. The raider ships were spread out in a loose circle around the planet, moving slowly and confidently. They had no scouts watching for threats, no defensive positions, no backup plans. They're not expecting any resistance, Jake said. Look at how they're positioned. Any military force would have perimeter guards and escape routes ready. Captain Danny Rodriguez spoke from the pilot's seat. The colony's main settlement is on the northern continent. I'm picking up multiple fires and damaged buildings. The Drakkar have been busy. Dr. Foster was monitoring the colony's communications. I'm getting the scattered signals from the colonists. They're hiding in underground shelters, but some of the Drakkar are on the surface looking for them. How many colonists have we lost? Captain Adams asked. Unknown, Dr. Foster replied. But the medical emergency frequencies are very active. The colony's hospital is overwhelmed? Lieutenant Maya Chung was studying the Drakkar ship designs. These raiders are bullies. Their ships are built for attacking helpless targets, not for fighting other warships. They have heavy weapons but weak defenses. Perfect, Jake said grimly. They're used to people who don't fight back. Captain Adams activated the ship's communication system. All hands, this is the captain. We are about to engage hostile forces that have attacked a civilian colony. Our mission is to protect innocent lives and drive off the raiders. This is not a coalition operation. This is a human operation. We do what we think is right. The bridge crew nodded. They had all volunteered for this mission, knowing it might mean fighting. None of them had second thoughts about protecting. Innocent people. Danny, take us in, Captain Adams ordered. Beth, bring weapons online. Jake, I want you coordinating tactical responses. The horizon accelerated toward the planet. On the tactical display, they could see the Drakkar ships beginning to react to their approach. The raiders were moving into a loose formation, but they were slow and clumsy. They're trying to surround us, Commander Wright reported. But they're not very good at it. Because they've never fought anyone who fought back, Jake said. Watch this. Instead of trying to avoid the Drakkar formation, Captain Adams ordered the Horizon to head straight for the largest enemy ship. The raiders didn't know how to respond to such a direct attack. Incoming transmission, Dr. Foster announced. It's from the Drakkar flagship. Put it through. Captain Adams said. The main screen showed a reptilian creature with scars across its face and metal implants in its skull. Its eyes were cold and cruel, and when it spoke, its voice was full of arrogance. Unknown vessel, you are interfering with Drakkar operations. Turn around and leave, or we will destroy you. This is Captain Lisa Adams of the Earth Colonial Fleet. She replied calmly, You are attacking innocent civilians. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. The Drakkar leader laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. Earth? Never heard of it. You must be new to this galaxy. Let me educate you. When the Drakkar claim a target, it belongs to us. Leave now or join the colonists we are hunting. Counter offer, Captain Adams said. You have 10 seconds to begin withdrawing from this system. After that, we will consider you hostile combatants and act accordingly. The Drakkar leader's expression changed from amusement to anger. You dare threaten us? We are the terror of the outer systems. No one challenges the Drakkar. 9 seconds, Captain Adams said. You are either very brave or very stupid, the Drakkar leader snarled. We have 12 ships, you have one. The mathematics are simple. 3 seconds, Captain Adams said. Fine, you want to die protecting these worthless colonists? We will grant your wish. All ships, attack formation, destroy the human vessel. The transmission ended. On the tactical display, the Drakkar ships were moving into attack positions, but they were moving like they had all the time in the world. They're not taking us seriously, Jake observed. They think this will be easy. Their mistake, Captain Adams said. Fire. The Horizon's weapon systems came online with the efficiency that would have impressed any military observer. The ship's main railgun fired a projectile that crossed the distance to the Drakkar flagship in less than 2 seconds. The result was spectacular. The Drakkar ship's shields collapsed instantly, and the projectile tore through the hull like it was made of paper. The flagship spun out of control, atmosphere and debris streaming from multiple holes. What just happened? Commander Wright asked, staring at the tactical display. They've been fighting defenseless targets for so long they forgot what real weapons look like, Jake said. Their shields are designed to stop mining tools and civilian equipment, not military-grade railguns. The other Drakkar ships were now moving much faster, but they were panicking instead of coordinating. They fired their weapons wildly, missing the horizon by huge distances. They don't know how to fight a moving target, Maya observed. They're used to shooting at stationary colonies. Captain Adams ordered evasive maneuvers, and the horizon danced between the Drakkar ships like a fighter plane among cargo haulers. The raiders' heavy weapons were powerful but slow, designed for destroying buildings, not hitting fast-moving targets. 2 more ships closing from the left, Commander Wright reported. I see them, Jake said. Danny, bring us around to bearing 180. Beth, target their engines. The horizon spun around and fired again. This time, instead of destroying the enemy ships, they disabled them. The Drakkar vessels lost power and drifted helplessly in space. Why aren't we destroying them? Dr. Foster asked. Because we're not murderers, Captain Adams replied. We're here to protect people, not to kill everyone we meet. The remaining Drakkar ships were now trying to retreat, but they were too slow. The horizon caught up with them easily, disabling 2 more ships with precise shots to their engines. This is impossible, came a transmission from one of the remaining raiders. How are you doing this? We're human, Jake replied simply. We've been dealing with bullies for thousands of years. Within 30 minutes, the entire Drakkar fleet was either destroyed or disabled. The few remaining ships that could still move were fleeing the system as fast as they could travel. Colony ships are coming out of hiding, Dr. Foster reported. They're requesting permission to approach. Permission granted, Captain Adams said. Open a channel to the colony. The main screen showed an elderly alien with blue skin and worried eyes. Human vessel, this is Colony Administrator Vex. We cannot express our gratitude for what you have done. The Drakkar have been terrorizing our people for hours. Are your people safe? Captain Adams asked. Most of them, thanks to you, Administrator. Vex replied. We have wounded, but our medical facilities are handling the emergency. How did you know to come here? The Coalition sent out a distress signal, Jake explained. We responded. But the Coalition doesn't have military vessels, Administrator Vex said, confused. They told us help would take weeks to arrive. The Coalition was going to hold meetings. About it, Captain Adams said. We decided to act instead. Administrator Vex stared at them for a moment. You came here on your own, without orders or authorization? We came because people needed help, Maya said. That's what humans do. Humans, Administrator Vex repeated. You are the species from the Deathworld. We have heard rumors. What kind of rumors? Dr. Foster asked. That your people are dangerous. That you come from a world of violence and death, Administrator Vex paused. I think those rumors are wrong. You are not dangerous to people who need help. You are dangerous to people who hurt the innocent. That's a good way to put it, Captain Adams said. The Coalition will want to know what happened here, Administrator Vex continued. How do I explain? That a single human ship defeated an entire Drakkar fleet? Tell them the truth, Jake said. Tell them that someone finally stood up to the bullies. As they prepared to leave the system, the Horizon received hundreds of messages from the colonists. Every one was a message of thanks. Many included personal stories of family members saved, homes protected, and lives preserved. Dr. Foster was reading the messages when he noticed something interesting. Captain, the colonists are asking if more humans will be coming to Coalition space. Why? Captain Adams asked. Because word is spreading through the communications network. Other colonies that have been attacked by raiders are asking for human help. Commander Wright looked at the tactical display, which now showed the scattered wreckage of the Drakkar fleet. The galaxy is about to learn something important about humans. What's that? Maya asked. That we don't just survive dangerous situations, Jake said. We end them. As the Horizon jumped back into faster-than-light travel, heading for Unity Station, none of them realized how much the galaxy had changed in the last few hours. The Coalition had spent centuries believing that peace was the absence of conflict. They were about to learn that sometimes real peace could only be achieved through strength. The Youth Horizon returned to Unity Station to find everything had changed. Where before there had been calm, gentle activity, now there was chaos. Ships from dozens of Coalition worlds were arriving every hour, and the communication networks were overloaded with messages. Captain Adams walked through the corridors and noticed that aliens, who had previously moved slowly and carefully, were now rushing around with purpose. The gentle chimes that had played constantly were replaced by urgent announcement tones. Captain Adams, Ambassador Zara called out as they approached the main council chamber. Her feathers were no longer flat with fear, but they weren't completely relaxed either. The Coalition Council demands an immediate meeting with your team. Demands? Jake asked, raising an eyebrow. That's new. The entire galaxy is talking about what happened at Arcturus 7, Ambassador Zara explained. The Drakkar fleet was completely defeated. Some of their ships were captured, others destroyed. The survivors are spreading the word that humans are not to be attacked. Dr. Foster was carrying a datapad full of messages. We've received over 3,000 communications from colonies across Coalition space. Most of them are asking for human protection. Protection from what? Captain, Adams asked. Raiders, pirates, slavers, and bullies, Commander Wright replied. Apparently, the Drakkar weren't the only ones taking advantage of the Coalition's peaceful nature. They entered the council chamber to find it packed with representatives from every Coalition world. The circular table had been expanded to accommodate dozens of species, and the air was filled with the sound of multiple languages being translated simultaneously. Captain Adams, the four-armed delegate stood up. What you did at Arcturus 7 has caused a crisis throughout Coalition space. What kind of crisis? Captain Adams asked. Other criminal groups are now afraid to continue their operations, Ambassador Zara explained. But some are becoming more desperate and violent. 3 colonies have been attacked in the last 12 hours by raiders trying to strike before humans arrive to help. Jake felt a familiar anger building in his chest. So, because we stopped one group of bullies, others are getting more aggressive? The situation is complicated, the tree-like alien said, his leaves rustling with worry. For centuries, criminals knew they could take what they wanted without serious resistance. Now they fear that humans will come to stop them. But we're only one ship, Lieutenant Maya-chan pointed out. We can't protect every colony in Coalition space. The raiders don't know that, the purple-skinned delegate said. They think Earth has sent a military fleet to Coalition space. Some groups are surrendering without a fight, others are attacking more viciously than ever. Captain Adams studied the faces around the table. What do you want us to do? That is what we are here to discuss, Ambassador Zara said. The Coalition has never faced a situation like this. We need guidance. From us? Dr. Foster asked. We're new here. You've been running this alliance for centuries. Yes, but we have never dealt with systematic violence, the four-armed delegate admitted. We have always believed that peaceful negotiation could solve any problem. You have shown us that sometimes force is necessary. Commander Wright looked around the room. Are you asking us to become the Coalition's military? We are asking you to teach us how to protect ourselves. Ambassador Zara said. How to stand up to bullies without becoming bullies ourselves? Jake leaned back in his chair. That's a big responsibility. Are you sure you want to learn how to fight? We are sure we want to learn how to survive, the tree-like alien replied. The galaxy has become more dangerous since word of your actions spread. We need to adapt or face extinction. Teaching people to fight is not something we take lightly, Captain Adams said. Violence should always be the last option, not the first. But when it is necessary, we must be prepared, the purple-skinned delegate said. The colonists at Arcturus 7 are alive because you were willing to act. How many others will die because we are not? Dr. Foster had been quiet during most of the discussion, but now he spoke up. What about the Drakkar prisoners we took? Have you questioned them? They are being held at a secure facility, Ambassador. Zara said, but they refuse to cooperate with our interrogators. Maybe they'll talk to us, Jake suggested. We're the ones who defeated them. That is a good idea, the four-armed delegate agreed. Perhaps they will reveal information about other criminal organizations. 2 hours later, Jake and Maya were sitting across from the captured Drakkar leader in a secure interview room. The alien raider looked smaller and less threatening than he had on the ship's communication screen. His metal implants had been removed, and his scarred face showed more fear than anger. You are the humans who destroyed my fleet, he said, his voice lacking the arrogance from before. We are, Jake replied simply. We want to ask you some questions. Why should I answer? The Drakkar leader asked. You have already beaten me. What more do you want? We want to know about other raiders, Maya said. How many groups are operating in Coalition space? The Drakkar leader laughed bitterly. You think we are the only ones? The Coalition has been easy prey for decades. Dozens of groups take what they want from these peaceful fools. Not anymore, Jake said. Word is spreading that humans are protecting Coalition colonies. How do you think other raiders will react? Some will run, the Drakkar leader admitted. Others will fight harder. The smart ones will avoid any system where humans might be. What about the desperate ones? Maya asked. The Drakkar leader's expression became more serious. They will do anything to get what they need before you stop them. They will attack more colonies, take more prisoners, cause more damage. Your victory has made things worse for the Coalition. Jake and Maya exchanged glances. They had feared this might happen. There is something else, the Drakkar leader continued. The Coalition is not the only group in this part of the galaxy. There are larger powers, older civilizations that have been watching and waiting. Waiting for what? Jake asked. For the Coalition to become strong enough to be a threat, the Drakkar leader said. Your people have just made that happen. The Coalition was safe because it was weak. Now it has allied with Deathworlders. When they returned to the council chamber, Jake and Maya shared what they had learned. The news caused immediate concern among the Coalition representatives. Other civilizations? Ambassador Zara asked. We thought we knew all the intelligent species in this region. The Drakkar said there are powers that have been watching the Coalition for centuries, Maya explained. They stayed hidden because the Coalition wasn't seen as a threat. But now that we're allied with humans, that might change, Jake added. The four-armed delegate stood up. Then we must be prepared for whatever comes. Captain Adams, will you help us build defenses? Captain Adams looked around the room at the dozens of species represented. Some were afraid, others were determined, but all of them were looking to humanity for answers. We will help, she said finally, but we do this the right way. We build defenses, not weapons of conquest. We protect the innocent, not attack the guilty without cause. We become strong enough to keep the peace, not so strong that we become the next threat. Agreed, Ambassador Zara said. How do we begin? First, we need to coordinate a response to the immediate crisis. Captain Adams sighed. Colonies are under attack right now. We need to help them. But you have only one ship, the purple-skinned delegate pointed out. Then we build more, Commander Wright said. We teach you how to construct vessels that can protect your people. And we train crews to operate them, Jake added. Fighting is not just about having weapons. It's about knowing when and how to use them. Dr. Foster looked up from his data pad. Captain, we're receiving a message from Earth Command. Admiral Sullivan wants to speak with us immediately. Put her through, Captain Adams said. Admiral Sullivan's image appeared on the main screen. Her expression was serious, but Jake could see pride in her eyes. Captain Adams, your actions at Arcturus 7 have caused quite a stir. The Coalition has formally requested that Earth establish a permanent military presence in their space. What? Does Earth Command think about that? Captain Adams asked. We think it's time for humanity to take its place among the stars, Admiral Sullivan replied. The colonial fleet is being expanded. We're sending additional ships and personnel to Coalition space. More humans are coming? Ambassador Zara asked. Many more, Admiral Sullivan confirmed. Engineers, soldiers, teachers, and diplomats. If the Coalition wants to learn how to protect itself, we'll teach them. And if these other civilizations the Drakkar mentioned decide to make trouble, Jake asked. Admiral Sullivan smiled grimly. Then they'll learn the same lesson the Raiders did. Humanity protects its friends. The meeting continued for several more hours, but the important decisions had been made. The Coalition would learn to defend itself, with humanity as their teachers and allies. The galaxy's age of passive peace was ending, replaced by something stronger and more enduring. As the various species filed out of the council chamber, making plans for defense networks and training programs, Jake remained behind with his team. Do you think we did the right thing? Dr. Foster asked. We saved innocent lives, Captain Adams replied. That's always the right thing.